You open your heart, you let him in, and just when you think you're finally building something real, he starts to slip away. His texts slow down, his energy changes. You replay every conversation, every moment, wondering, what did I do wrong? But here's the hard truth. It wasn't the moment you shared your feelings that pushed him away. It was something far more invisible, far more powerful. Men don't lose interest because you care. They lose interest because, without realizing it, your emotional attachment shifts the entire balance of the connection. What began as a dance of curiosity and mystery slowly transforms into a dynamic where he feels the invisible pressure of your hopes, your expectations, your unspoken fears, and the moment he senses that weight, he steps back. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding a truth no one teaches you. Emotional attachment, when unbalanced, can feel like a silent demand to a man, a demand for certainty, a demand for commitment, a demand for something that he's not ready to define. And when he feels that demand, spoken or unspoken, his instinct is to create distance. But here's the most important part. It's not your feelings that are the problem. It's how you hold them. In this video, you'll learn how to stay connected to your heart without losing your magnetism, how to create a space where he wants to come closer, not pull away. Because the key isn't to care less, it's to care differently. And once you understand this hidden reason, everything changes. Let's go deeper, because if you don't understand this one truth about male desire versus emotional attachment, you'll keep finding yourself in the same painful cycle. A man's desire and his ability to sustain emotional attachment don't always work the way we expect. In fact, they can move in opposite directions. In the early stages of a connection, a man is often drawn in by the unknown. The mystery, the unpredictability, the chase, it fuels his curiosity, his attraction. Desire thrives in that space where he's still figuring you out, still trying to win you over, still uncertain about how much of your heart he truly holds. That space excites him. It keeps him engaged, but emotional attachment, when it starts to show up on your side, can unintentionally change that space. When you become emotionally attached, you naturally want reassurance. You want to feel safe in the bond. You want to close the gap between you, to define the relationship, to build something certain. And here's where the tension begins. What fuels your sense of security can at times drain his sense of desire. It's not that men don't want emotional closeness. They do, but they want to choose it on their own terms. When a man feels that emotional attachment is starting to expect something of him, whether it's more time, more effort, more clarity, a subtle shift happens. What once felt free and exciting now starts to feel like pressure. He might not even realize it consciously, but he feels it, and his instinct tells him to step back, to reclaim space, to protect his autonomy. This is why you'll often hear about men who seemed so interested at first, who gave all the signals of wanting you, but then faded the moment the connection felt real. It's not that your feelings scared him, it's that his desire wasn't yet ready to evolve into emotional commitment. And the faster the emotional attachment grew, the more it clashed with his need to move at his own pace. The key is not to suppress your emotions. That only leads to resentment and confusion. The key is to understand that desire and attachment operate on different timelines. Male desire needs breathing room. It needs to feel voluntary, not obligated. When you stay grounded in your own self-worth, when you let the bond grow organically without rushing to label it or secure it, you give him the space to choose attachment, to choose you of his own free will. Think about it like this. Desire is sparked by discovery. When you stay in a place where you're still discovering each other, when you stay curious rather than certain, you keep the fire alive. Emotional attachment becomes magnetic when it's paired with confidence, when your love isn't seeking to fill a void, but is shared from a place of fullness. That's the psychology most people miss. Men don't lose desire because you can. They lose desire when the emotional attachment shifts, the dynamic from discovery to expectation, from freedom to obligation. In the rest of this video, we'll break down how you can honor your feelings without dimming that spark, how you can stay emotionally open and desirable, and how to create a bond that deepens over time rather than fade. Because when you understand the balance between desire and attachment, you stop chasing and start attracting the connection that's meant for you. There's one emotional mistake that almost guarantees a man will start to pull away. And the saddest part, most women don't even realize they're making it. It's not about texting too much. It's not about being too available. It's deeper than that. The mistake is this. You start seeking emotional security from him before he's emotionally invested. Let that sink in for a moment. The moment you start looking to him to soothe your doubts, calm your fears, or validate your worth, the dynamic shifts. What began as two people enjoying a connection turns into an invisible contract. A contract he never signed. A contract where, without saying a word, he starts to feel responsible for your happiness, your confidence, your sense of safety. And that's the moment his interest begins to fade. Men are wired to desire emotional connection, yes, but they are also wired to protect their freedom and autonomy. When your emotional attachment turns into subtle dependency, it changes the energy between you. The fun, light-hearted moments you used to share start feeling heavier. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly start to feel like they come with an agenda. Even if you don't speak it, he feels it, that you need him to behave a certain way, say certain things, or give certain reassurances so you can feel secure. And this isn't about blaming you, it's human nature. When we care deeply, we want to feel safe. We want to know the connection is real. But here's what no one tells you. Security doesn't come from another person. The more you try to get it from him too early, the more it actually pushes him away. Think of it like this: a man is drawn to the woman who feels like home, calm, confident, secure in herself. When you radiate that energy, he feels safe to come close. But when you look to him to give you that emotional anchor before he's chosen to commit, it feels like pressure. And pressure kills desire. This is why so many women say, "But everything was going so well. I thought we were on the same page, and then he..." The truth is, the vibe changed. Without meaning to, you shifted from sharing the connection to managing it. From enjoying the moment to trying to lock it down. And that shift, that invisible hand that reaches out and says, "Please, show me this is safe," is what makes him start to pull back. So what's the solution? You have to become your own source of emotional safety. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care without clinging. You let the connection breathe. You let him move towards you at his own pace, while you stay rooted in your own worth. Because here's the secret. When a man doesn't feel the weight of your emotional expectations, he stays curious. He stays engaged. He chooses to come closer because he wants to, not because he feels he has to. And that choice is what makes his interest last. In the next part of this video, I'll show you exactly how to master that emotional balance, how to stay open without becoming dependent, and how to turn emotional attachment into a strength that draws him closer instead of pushing him away. Let's talk about something that most people get completely wrong: how men actually perceive emotional availability. Because what you think shows your openness and warmth may not always land the way you intend. Emotional availability isn't just about being kind, supportive, or willing to share your feelings. To a man, it's about the energy you bring to the connection, and that energy that invites him closer or quietly tells him to pull away. When a man meets a woman who is emotionally available in the right way, she feels safe, but not needy. She feels open, but not demanding. She gives space for him to express himself without filling in the silence with expectations. Emotional availability to him is not about how much you share, it's about how you hold space. Do you give him the room to be himself, or do you unknowingly fill that space with your fears, your hopes, your unspoken desires for what this connection should be? See, men notice when emotional availability crosses the line into emotional urgency. And here's where it gets tricky. You can say all the right things, but if your energy is signaling, "I need you to validate me. I need this to go somewhere. I need this to feel safe right now," he will sense that. And no matter how interested he was, that invisible emotional pull can make him feel like he's losing his freedom. Emotional availability, when healthy, is about present. It's about showing up as you are, without trying to control the outcome. It's about listening as much as speaking, about receiving as much as giving. The woman who radiates true emotional availability says without words, "I'm here. I see you. I'm enjoying this moment with you. And I'm okay, no matter where this goes." That energy is magnetic. It allows him to relax, to be vulnerable, to step closer, because he wants to, not because he feels trapped by your emotional need. But when emotional availability turns into emotional overreach, when you start sharing too much too soon, or expecting emotional depth from him before he's ready, it feels like a weight. And even if he doesn't understand why, he'll feel the need to take a step back. Here's another layer most people miss. Men often test emotional availability in small, unspoken ways. He notices how you react when plans change, when he pulls back to handle stress or life. Do you panic and try to pull him back, or do you stay centered, giving him space to return on his own. He notices whether your emotional availability comes with hidden strings. If you're only available when things are perfect or only when he's giving you attention, that's not true availability. That's conditional connection, and men can feel it. The truth is, emotional availability is less about what you say and more about what you allow. Do you allow him to be imperfect, to have moments of distance without assuming the worst? Do you allow the relationship to unfold rather than forcing it into the shape you hope for? That's what men read as emotional strength. That's what keeps their interest alive. So if you want to be the woman who draws him closer, remember this. Emotional availability isn't about proving your worth or convincing him to choose you. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you can stay open without fear. And in that openness, you create the space for him to choose you again and again. When we talk about emotional attachment, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that attachment itself is the problem. But the truth is, emotional attachment isn't what makes men lose interest. Unbalanced emotional attachment does. The kind that feels like pressure, that comes with silent expectations, that quietly asks him to complete you or make you feel secure. That's what pushes him away. But there's another kind of attachment, the kind that keeps a man invested. Not because he feels he has to stay, but because he wants to stay. And it starts with you. Healthy emotional attachment begins when you are anchored in your own self-worth. You're not clinging to him for validation or for proof that you're lovable. Instead, you're sharing your emotions freely, without making him responsible for them. When you do that, he experiences your feelings as a gift, not as a demand. You see, what keeps a man invested isn't your need for him. It's your ability to share connection without losing your independence. Men are drawn to women who can care deeply while remaining centered. It shows him that being close to you doesn't mean he's going to lose himself, and that makes him feel safe to open his heart. In healthy attachment, you're not seeking to control the relationship or rush it forward. You trust the process. You trust yourself. And that trust is what gives him room to choose you again and again, without feeling like he's being pulled by invisible strings. Here's what men actually feel when emotional attachment is healthy. They feel inspired by your presence, not overwhelmed by it. They feel appreciated for who they are now, not pressured for who they could become. They feel that being with you adds to their life, it doesn't drain it. And here's the powerful truth. When you stop trying to get love and instead focus on sharing love, everything you stop chasing reassurance. You stop needing constant confirmation that he's interested. And because of that, you become the woman who naturally holds his interest. Think about it. How does it feel when someone is with you because they want to be, not because they feel like they have to be? That's the energy that keeps a connection alive. And that's exactly what healthy emotional attachment creates. So how do you create this kind of attachment? It starts with emotional self-leadership. You take responsibility for your own feeling. You know that it's okay to want closeness, but you don't need it to feel whole. You allow the relationship to breathe. You let desire build without rushing to lock it down. And you stay curious. When you're curious instead of certain, you invite him to keep discovering you. You stay mysterious, not because you're hiding who you are, but because you're always growing, always unfolding, and that keeps him engaged. The magic of healthy emotional attachment is that it doesn't chase, it attracts. It draws him in because he feels that being close to you is a choice he gets to make, not a role he's obligated to play. In the next part of this video, we'll break down exactly how to master emotional balance, so you can keep the connection strong without losing yourself in it. Because when you understand the power of healthy attachment, you don't just keep a man invested, you create the kind of love that lasts. Emotional balance is the secret ingredient that keeps a woman both strong and irresistible. It's what allows you to care deeply without losing yourself. It's what keeps a man drawn to you, not because you're trying to hold on to him, but because he feels safe, inspired, and energized in your presence. When you master emotional balance, you stop swinging between extremes. You're not overly guarded, shutting him out to protect your heart, and you're not overly attached, clinging to him for security or direction. Instead, you move from a place of calm strength. You can be open without fear. You can be loving without anxiety. And that energy, it's magnetic. Men are deeply sensitive to the emotional energy you bring into a connection. When your energy feels stable, when you radiate inner peace, he feels safe to let his guard down. He knows he can come closer without worrying that you'll overwhelm him with needs he can't meet, or that you'll disappear the moment things get difficult. That kind of balance, makes you unforgettable. The power of emotional balance is that it puts you in control, not of him, not of the relationship, but of yourself. You become the kind of woman who doesn't chase love, but attracts it naturally. You don't need to beg for attention or reassurance because you know who you are and what you're worth. And when you know your worth, you don't fear his distance or cling to his presence. You simply allow the connection to unfold. What does that look like in action? It means you can handle his moments of silence without spiraling into doubt. It means you don't overanalyze every word, every text, every little shift in his mood. Instead, you trust yourself. You trust the bond you're building. You trust that if he's the right man, nothing will drive him away. And if he isn't, nothing you do will make him stay. That's the kind of confidence that keeps a man invested. When he senses that you're balanced, that you're not looking to him to complete you or fix you or rescue you from your own insecurities, he relaxes. He stops feeling pressure and he starts feeling pulled toward you, because your emotional strength gives him space to be himself, to step up, to choose you fully. Here's the beautiful part. Emotional balance doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you hide your heart or play hard to get. It means you care without attachment to the outcome. You show up fully, but you don't lose yourself in trying to control what happens next. You love with open hands, not clenched fists. And that makes you powerful beyond measure. When you cultivate emotional balance, you send out a silent message that says, I'm here because I want to be, not because I need to be. I'm open, I'm real, I'm present, and I'm strong enough to handle whatever comes. That message keeps his interest alive because it invites him into a connection that feels free, authentic, and full of possibility. In the next part of this video, we'll bring it all together. I'll show you how to use distance as a tool to build desire, how to respond when he pulls away, and how to stay in your power no matter what. Because when you master emotional balance, you don't just hold his attention, you hold your own, and that's where true attraction begins. Now that you understand the deeper dynamics of desire, attachment, and emotional balance, let's bring it all together. Let's talk about how to actually keep a man drawn to you. Not for a week, not for a fleeting moment of passion, but in a way that makes him want to stay, want to grow with you, and want to keep choosing you. The first key is this: stay rooted in your life. A man is drawn to a woman who has a world beyond him. When you have passions, dreams, friendships, and goals that light you up, you naturally become more magnetic. He feels that being with you is an addition to your beautiful, full life, not the center of it. And that energy is irresistible. It shows him that you're not seeking to be completed, because you're already whole. Next, master the art of giving space. When a man pulls back, and at some point he will, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't try to fill the gap with texts, calls, or reassurances. Instead, hold steady. Let him feel the distance without filling it for him. That's when he notices what it feels like to miss you. That's when he realizes that the connection isn't something he wants to lose. The third tip: keep a little mystery alive. This doesn't mean playing games or hiding who you are. It means always having parts of yourself that are growing, evolving, unfolding. When you're always discovering new things about yourself, he stays curious. And curiosity is what keeps desire burning over time. Also, be the emotional leader of your own heart. When you feel anxious or unsure, don't immediately look to him to soothe you. Instead, pause, breathe, remind yourself of your worth. The more you can calm your own storms, the more he feels safe in your presence. He sees you as a woman who can handle life, love, and connection with strength. And that's the kind of woman a man wants to stand beside. Another powerful way to keep him drawn to you: appreciate him without attachment. Show gratitude for the little things he does, without making it about what you hope he'll do next. Men thrive on feeling valued, not obligated. When you appreciate him for who he is in the moment, rather than for who you want him to become, you create a positive feedback loop that keeps him wanting to give more. Finally, trust the connection. The more you try to control, define, or secure it too soon, the more you unintentionally suffocate the very spark you want to protect. When you trust the bond you're building, you give him the space to trust it too. You create a dynamic where he wants to show up, wants to invest, and wants to stay. At the end of the day, keeping a man drawn to you isn't about doing more. It's about being more present, more grounded, more connected to yourself. Because when you're deeply in tune with your own heart, you naturally become the kind of woman who inspires him to stay close. As you take these insights into your relationships, remember, you don't need to fear emotional attachment. You simply need to anchor it in strength, balance, and self-love. That's how you build connections that don't just spark, they last.